In the grocery store, frozen foods, that's where I'll find the man of my dreams. He'll brush against me, our eyes will meet. My TV dinners will melt in the heat of unbridled testosterone. On aisle 1, the lobsters will leap from their tanks. In dairy, the eggs will hatch. That's love. Oh God, it's love. And I'll see my box of Depends, and the eggs will hatch no more. I'll stand there shivering and alone, reaching for something, anything, I don't know what. For a life, for the hope of a life. But Ralph's doesn't carry that in frozen foods. Maybe you can get it at Gelson's. Every time I buy adult diapers, I want to wear a sign that says, "These are not for me. Swear to God, bladder control's just fine, thank you." I do Kegel exercises. I could stop on a dime. And sometimes I'll have a bag of prunes in the cart too. Prunes and Depends. Sounds like a self-defeating proposition. Or a recipe for a lively afternoon. Yep. You know how to tell if you're a caregiver? When you run out of baby powder and dip into your private stash of Kama Sutra edible honey dust. Organic, $20 a tub. Comes with its own little feather duster for those special evenings when dessert leads to desire. Your 83-year-old mother, not the target demographic for this product. And I'd like to welcome you to the land of giant underpants. For years I have ferociously avoided covering my ass with anything larger than a postage stamp. But the underpants were brand new when Bernice got into diapers, and I couldn't bring myself to throw them away. I thought, oh well, they'll wear out in a few months, but they never wear out. Never. I think they must come with a lifetime guarantee like Snap-on tools. If I ever have another romantic interlude, I'll have to say, pardon me a moment while I slip into something less comfortable. Right now, people in prison have more conjugal visits than I do. And sometimes I run out of the house in a hurry and forget what's on underneath, and there I'll be, skin-tight skirt, see-through blouse, while hidden below in the dark recesses of my apparel, I've got on old lady's underwear. It's like the picture of Dorian Gray's crotch. Bernice, the one in the edible honey dust, has lived with me for 6 years. Our third roommate is Alzheimer's. He used to keep to himself. Stayed in a tiny room in the back of her mind. Last one to use the shower, never left any dirty dishes. But his campaign has been vicious and swift. Now he's got the run of the place. You know how people do, hang a picture here, throw a pillow there, and ingratiate themselves into your environment until all traces of you have disappeared. I reach out for my disappearing mother, but pretty soon my arms won't be long enough anymore. I'd even sacrifice my enormous drawers if I could have her back the way she used to be, despite the fact that she drove me crazy on a regular basis. It's covered in the how-to manual for Jewish mothers. And I quote, "While feeding your children is important, your greatest obligation is to confuse them and never let them grow up. That way, they will always need you, and you will never be out of a job." Since I have no children of my own, I'm working on my niece and nephews. I first realized I might need help with Bernice on a cross-country flight from New York. After about 2 hours, she decided it was time to get off the plane. It didn't matter that we were 30,000 feet in the air in a cornfield. I consulted the stewardess, who brightly countered, "More peanuts?" Once we got settled in, I enrolled Bernice in a nearby daycare center. It had everything you could possibly want: snacks, activities, a lovely staff, and doors that locked from the inside. I always wondered if Bernice would find herself a boyfriend there, but she was never interested in any of those old geezers. The one she liked was an employee, a 30-year-old Adonis, blonde hair and big blue eyes and war sport abs. I tried to talk her into taking him home as an art project. How hard could that be? But all I ever got, day after day, week after week, were potholders and decoupage. Then one day, I got the call that every parent dreads. My darling girl had been expelled for fighting. In this corner, Bernice, luchadora la manora. Across the ring, Kiko Kamagaki, the Scourge of Nagasaki.
All right, girls, you know the rules. No headbutting, no hair pulling.
Wait a minute, it couldn't have happened like that. These women were in their 80s. What did happen was that Bernice wandered over to Mrs. Kamagaki, who preferred quiet time in her wheelchair. The Scourge of Nagasaki threw down the gauntlet. "No! Shut up!" Bernice took the bait. "No! You shut up!" And with a gentle slap, the fighting career of Luchadora Lamanora was over. That was her first and final blow, and she retired from the ring forever. Now that she was home, I had to find respite care for the times when I needed to go to work, or the days when I decided to throw in my giant drawers and cruise frozen foods. An odd assortment of characters has stepped in to replace me. They render a service I refer to as doing Bernice. I have written detailed and copious instructions for them covering every possible contingency that might arise in my absence. Most of the time, these are completely ignored. The first caregiver to do Bernice was Mandy, the agoraphobic nurse on Xanax. They knew each other from the daycare center, so the transition was fairly smooth. Thanks to Nurse Mandy, Bernice is still famous at our neighborhood grocery store. At first, it took a lot of convincing to get Mandy to leave the house. But one fine day, when they were both stoned to the gills on tranquilizers, they took the shuttle bus. After that, we couldn't keep her away. She would gale the grocery clerks daily with bits and pieces of her miserable life, a story I was forced to endure countless times in its entirety. During these grocery store confessionals, she left Bernice alone in the middle of an aisle, squawking away like an African gray on steroids. These episodes did not go unnoticed. Right before Christmas that year, Nurse Mandy made a grave miscalculation and dumped Bernice right on her head. Some people will do anything to avoid buying a gift. I knew I should have suspected something when she used Dr. Kevorkian as a reference. That day I came home to a darkened house. No Mandy, no Bernice, no note. Suddenly Mandy's communication skills had ground to a screeching halt. I found Bernice in the emergency room.